Could the name Joseph for Yeshua's father have been selected for biblical reasons? Dr. Michael H. Coplett's abstract. This paper explores the possibility that the name Joseph, attributed to Yeshua's father in the Gospels, was chosen for theological rather than historical reasons. By examining Semitic cultural norms, genealogical inconsistencies, biblical typology, and textual transmission, this study argues that the name may have served a symbolic function, echoing the patriarch Joseph's role in Genesis and reinforcing messianic prophecy. Introduction. The attribution of the name Joseph to Yeshua's father raises intriguing questions about historical accuracy and theological intent. In the cultural context of the Near East, personal details were rarely emphasized in religious writings. This paper examines whether the name was preserved from oral tradition or introduced later for biblical and typological reasons. Semitic cultural norms. Semitic writers prioritized spiritual meaning over personal details. Biographical information about figures such as Hillel, Shammai, and Elijah is notably absent from Scripture, reflecting a cultural indifference to physical descriptions and family data. Genealogies in Matthew and Luke were likely inserted to establish symbolic continuity with Abraham and David, rather than to provide verifiable historical records. Genealogical challenges. The Babylonian conquest resulted in the extermination of the Davidic royal family, making an unbroken biological lineage improbable. Furthermore, Matthew and Luke present divergent genealogies, suggesting theological construction rather than historical accuracy. The expectation that the Messiah would come from the line of David was understood culturally as a reference to shared attributes, not literal descent. Greek interpretive influence. When the Gospels were translated into Greek, Western interpreters, shaped by Stoic philosophy, misread Near Eastern idioms as biological claims. This interpretive shift illustrates the broader challenge of translating Semitic texts within a Greco-Roman intellectual framework. Typology in the name Joseph. The choice of Joseph may reflect deliberate typology. In Genesis, Joseph preserves his family by bringing them to Egypt during famine. Similarly, in Matthew, Joseph protects Yeshua by taking him to Egypt following divine instruction. Matthew 2:13-15. Matthew's use of Hosea 11:1, "Out of Egypt I called my son," reinforces this connection. Textual transmission and additions. The absence of original gospel manuscripts complicates matters. The earliest fragment of John dates to c. 350 CE, and textual additions, such as the longer ending of Mark and the Trinitarian formula in Matthew, are widely acknowledged. These examples demonstrate that editorial modifications occurred, raising the possibility that names were similarly adjusted. Aramaic versus Greek texts. The Aramaic Peshitta conveys a more emotive tone than Greek versions, reflecting Semitic worldview, whereas Greek texts exhibit Stoic rationality. This contrast underscores the interpretive gap between original cultural context and later theological developments. Conclusion. Whether Joseph was Yeshua's father's actual name cannot be conclusively determined. While the question does not affect the core message of salvation, it highlights the need for critical inquiry and cultural awareness in biblical interpretation. To recover the original meaning of Scripture, scholars must remain open to questioning inherited paradigms and recognize the interplay between theology, culture, and history.